good. That is Jaggu. This is Tarana. And typically on this episode, we discuss things that catch our eye. There are usually things that make all of us smile and improve our mood. That's the idea behind the show. And this week, lots of like really fun, interesting headlines caught our eye, including Charlie Bit My Finger is now sold and we will no longer be able to see that video.
Okay, so the point is that it's the 10th anniversary of Charlie Bit My Finger.
No, the 10th anniversary happened in 2017.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's been that old.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw a video of the 10th anniversary celebration and I'm thinking to myself, abhi hai.
No. So the videos, okay, 1 minute. In case you're wondering who is Charlie and who bit Charlie's finger, quickly we will show you an image because we can no longer show you that video that had sort of gone viral, okay? That is Harry, and Harry's finger is in his brother Charlie's mouth, okay? And it was
he put it there, mind you, very consciously and purposefully.
So basically, it was like about less than a minute video on YouTube, and it was really cute, and it was really appreciated by the world. So millions and millions and millions of people watched this little video. We can't show you the video because it has been deleted from YouTube. If you can still see it, yay, we'll try and put the link for it in our description. But, you know, it may not actually be there because that's the point of an NFT. Anyway, so Charlie, the little baby, has bitten a slightly older brother's finger in this viral video. And the reason it went viral is because he purposely put his finger in his brother's mouth and was quite surprised that he bit it, and he bit it quite hard. And the two of them are British, so it was very cute. Charlie bit my finger. Ow, that hurts, Charlie. All of that happened. And then everyone thought it was really cute, and the family had put it up back in 2007, which is when there were very few like YouTube videos out. So obviously it went viral.
And this rocked it, millions and tens of millions of views.
Yeah. So now this particular video is no longer available because the family has sold it.
Okay. So you're familiar with this non-fungible token thing. It's built on the blockchain technology, and the whole point of blockchain is that it allows you to digitally figure out who owns a particular asset, which is what the whole cryptocurrency thing is based on. But you can continue to use that technology for other things, and a lot of people are doing that. So now there's this new thing called non-fungible tokens,
NFTs.
which basically means a digital item
collector's
can be
item
exclusively owned by one person. It becomes a collector's item. It becomes unique. It can't be copied, this, that, and the other. I don't know how this stops one from taking a screenshot and then distributing it.
Or downloading a video.
Ownership. Well, it's like this. So the Mona Lisa is owned by the Louvre Museum.
Yes.
Now, millions of people go and take a photo of the Mona Lisa and distribute it saying, I was at the Mona Lisa. But that does not mean that they own it. So I'm guessing the same rule applies.
But most of us are okay with reprints and copies and just, I don't have to be there and be the actual viewer. I can see your photos and say how very nice. But anywho, people who believe in NFTs and all have been buying them and selling them. And now Charlie Bit My Finger, that original video, which had gone viral, has just been sold this last weekend. And it made about $760,000. If I want to round it up, actually it's $761,000 because there is also $999. And there was like what's it called? It was an auction, and people were using all sorts of weird names. So it was an anonymous auction, and somebody has paid to own that video. And so not only do you get the video, the family said, we will give you a chance to meet the grown-up Harry. Harry, I think, is now 17, the one whose finger was bitten. Charlie is 3 years younger, and 2 years younger, and they will recreate this video with the person who bought the NFT.
That's pretty cool. Well, it's cool, but I don't know for that price. What are we talking in Indian rupees? About 5.5 crores?
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of money, man.
That's a lot of money for like a really silly 1 minute video. But
it's also internet history.
So like tons and tons of people have watched it. This particular family made a lot of money, obviously, from like YouTube advertising and sponsorship. And then they did lots of like ads. People came to interview them. So they became like quite famous. And now they're back in the news. So then they were back in the news when their 10th anniversary of the video happened. They threw a party and all, if you please.
Why not?
And they recreated it at that point, and they said, we think it went viral because I was so cute, said Harry. And then Charlie said, no, I think it's because I giggled so cutely, and so on. But it did make like lots of people randomly sort of copy the video, and we found one video which is actually a fantastically bad and hilarious. That's why sort of copy. So we don't have the original Charlie video because it might get deleted from our video, so we're just not risking it. But this was the Arab world version of Charlie Bit My Finger. Please enjoy.
Yeah, we know.
Charlie bit me. I think wins.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch, Charlie! Ouch! Charlie, that's really hard! Charlie bit me! And that's really hard!
So,
I love those little two laddus, I tell you.
So the Arab laddus obviously also went viral. So they had got like some 3-4 million views last I checked.
Nice. Very
just
nice.
because they recreated it, and they recreated the accent right and the video. But anywho, in case you've been wanting to watch the Charlie video, it is now no longer there. Okay, moving on from NFTs and Charlie, while we're on YouTube sensations, in France, yesterday, a video of the president of France went viral, and it had nothing to do with him doing anything scandalous.
As far as French presidents go, that's not too bad.
That's true. So Emmanuel Macron in February had apparently bet YouTubers to create a video about social distancing for COVID, and he had said that if your video reaches 10 million views, then I will invite you to my palace because he lives in the Élysée Palace. It's quite a nice palace, and I will allow you to interview me and shoot in my palace. And then these two French comedians actually managed to make a video that did go viral. It did hit 10 million views, and so then he said, "Okay, come to my palace." And then they chatted for about 36 minutes. Like there's a 36 minutes long video.
Apni haveli pe.
And it was so the video was like shown. I mean, it released on YouTube yesterday, and of course, it's gone viral. Like everybody in France sat and watched it. Now we would have liked to show it to you, but A, it's 36 minutes long, and B, it is entirely in French.
Okay, so we won't go there.
No, we won't, but we will try and show you an image because this palace is quite like fancy. Okay, are we ready?
So, as it should be.
This is very lips.
Now that's a pad.
Yeah.
That's not a studio apartment. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not. It's not one BHK. So,
no.
This is the YouTuber. What a lovely little, like, I don't think it's a sitting area by the gardens.
Yeah. The reception room.
The reception room.
Yeah.
And so this is where they shot, and none of them are wearing masks because all of them had to test negative and then, well, sort of meet. So it was safe.
Sure.
Yeah. They exchange stories, and then finally you see them walking away from the inside of the palace to a corner in the garden. And they did this because they ended this whole meet and greet with a heavy metal concert in the gardens of Palace Élysée. And it was
so one minute, who performed the concert?
So it is I must tell you the name of this truly bizarre palace.
So this concert was part of this whole festivity. They've stepped out in the garden, which, mind you, takes a little more than half a dozen flower pots.
So the concert was
by a heavy metal band.
The heavy metal band is a French band called Ultra Vomit.
Ultra Vomit, correct. Ultra Vomit. That's the name you want to have for a heavy metal band.
So Ultra Vomit performed a hard rock version of the French lullaby, A Green Mouse.
Okay, why not? I'm thinking Baba Black Sheep in heavy metal. Thinking Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in heavy metal. It could work.
So then immediately everybody in France has watched it. Their 2.7 million views was yesterday. I'm sure it's going to be rising higher and higher and higher. But everybody had a marvelous time watching I was going to say Violet, but Vomit sort of scream out a song. I'm not even sure if Emmanuel Macron is actually a heavy metal fan, but quite a cool thing to do.
Absolutely right.
His approval ratings has gone up. In the 18, so in the 18 to 24 age group, suddenly now he has approval ratings of 51%. Across France, his approval ratings are 40%.
And he has Ultra Vomit to thank for part of that. Okay, so
I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank my voters and Vomit.
Yeah.
Not just any vomit, but Ultra Vomit.
So this is something on social going right.
Yeah.
Even Charlie Bit My Finger is going spectacularly right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and it doesn't matter how famous you are, how big an influencer you are, at some point it could go wrong.
It could.
Yin Shihang has got it magnificently wrong.
Yin Shihang is sounding Chinese.
He is Chinese. Now, mind you, the social media apps in China are a little different from the ones that we know, because half of them are banned in China. So there is Washu or something like that. Anyway, the point is he has 7 million followers.
Okay.
They're very happy with the shenanigans, this, that, and the other. Now, Yin Xiang has a girlfriend called Tao Lulu.
Okay.
So Xiang and Lulu are a couple. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. They break up, they patch up, they break up, they patch up.
I'm guessing they're pretty young.
Yin Xiang is 22 years old.
Okay, 22. Okay, and she must be also 21.
Enough is enough. It is time to pop the question.
Will you be what, my girlfriend or my wife?
No, like engagement type.
Oh, he wants to get married at like 22. Okay.
Yeah, he's there. With 7 million followers, he's making a lot of money. Don't worry about it. He's set for life. So, of course, he promoted it on social.
Yes.
Everybody got very excited. He's going to propose, pop the question.
He was going to propose live.
He was going to propose live, but it wasn't going to be a surprise to Lulu.
Because she knew.
Because there was a promo video already.
Oh.
Okay. But the point is, everybody had excited, engagement hone wala hai, proposal hone wala hai, all of that was happening. So he rides in, and we actually have an image of this. He rides into a hall festooned with decorations in pink and things like that. He rides in on a pony, on a red carpet.
Yeah, we can see.
Pony, red carpet, full white, and lots of decorations, pink and white balloons and all of that. For what is supposed to be a proposal. What it turned out to be.
But he has dressed up as a groom, and I'm not quite sure why there are so many brides over there. Because typically only a bride is supposed to wear white, but okay.
No. So the bridesmaids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the lady in the front with the long trail is the one that is going to be proposed to, Apunki Lulu.
We don't know.
The rest are her bridesmaids.
Okay.
There's one random guy in the front because he has to deal with the pony.
Yes. So Yin Xiang has come on a pony for his live streaming of his engagement.
What turned out to be a 5-hour online sale.
Sale of what?
Of everything. So he did lipsticks, he did necklaces, he did mobile phones, he did pajamas and everything else that he could fit in 5 minutes. His point was that for their unofficial Valentine's Day, I think it falls at some point in May only. He popped the question. So it's I think May 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Sounds a little bit like I love you in Chinese.
The 20th of May sounds like I love you in Mandarin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or Cantonese.
So somehow it's their unofficial Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So ostensibly, these are the gifts that I bought for my girlfriend Lulu. See this lipstick, see this pajama set, see this mobile phone, this, that, and the other. You want to buy?
So why was he selling all the gifts he bought for her?
Because he made $7.2 million.
I know, 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, he has done a sale and he's made a lot of money. But explain to us, why was he selling all her stuff? Was it her stuff or was
he wasn't selling her stuff.
Okay.
He invited them saying that I'm going to propose online. What he ended up doing was making it a money-making machine. He started selling stuff online.
Okay.
It became a 5-hour sale. It wasn't a proposal anymore.
So now
By mistake, he made a proposal.
yeah.
And by mistake, she said yes. But for the rest of the time,
So
all
now
they
he's
were
in a
doing
horse.
was, yes,
And this is the sale that is happening.
this is the sale that is happening.
I
He's
see.
actually selling stuff: pajamas, mobile phones, lipsticks, necklaces, garments, all of that.
And people were buying. Okay, while I'm waiting to see your proposal, I might as well shop.
So this Quashu website
Ah.
or social media app connects you directly to JD.com. So without leaving the app, you can actually shop for stuff.
I see.
So $7.2 million worth of stuff was sold. Obviously, he had a substantial cut or whatever cut in all of that. 23,000 complaints went to the regulator saying, what is this nonsense?
Okay, and
They have-
what is this that is going on?
I don't know, maybe he's choosing his bride. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
no, because I vaguely
He's just
remember
randomly selling stuff.
that at one point he had to because pretend that it's an engagement. 3 women were randomly brought out like a game show, and he had to select Tao from one of them, and he didn't select Tao, so then the engagement didn't happen. Which is totally bizarre. So anywho, so now he has sold a lot of products which were not his own, so he's getting a cut from it and he's making money.
Yes.
And our
Yes.
people, and 23,000 people were very angry because they didn't get to see an engagement.
So he has been pulled off the social media app
Oh, banned.
for vulgarity. Not in the literal sense, but like literally conning people and putting on this absurd show. So he's been
For lying.
banned.
This is
His
actually,
last-
it's cheating. Yeah.
It is cheating. And his last message was, I'm a nice guy. I'm like a child. I hope you will remember me because I will most certainly remember you. And he gave this bow and things like that. So yeah, he basically got his backside kicked.
But he's
For cheating the
banned.
public.
But he's banned for how long? Like 1
I
week,
think
2
he's
weeks?
banned.
For
I think
life?
he's off. Yeah.
Ooh.
Happy New Year. He's gone.
Oh.
Yeah. 7 million followers destroyed in 5 hours.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was
Well,
crazy.
I hope he's made at least like $70 million.
I don't know what he's done.
I doubt it. And even this video, which would have later gone viral and all, must be deleted from their whatever website.
Yeah, but just think about it. You can be as popular as you want. You can put out all the shenanigans that you want. At some point, you cross the line. Somebody is going to come and well, basically kick your pants.
Yeah, but so are Yin and Tao getting married or not? Because we're very curious to know.
I believe they are getting married.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless they do another breakup on another social media site. Who knows?
Unless she's now saying, you cheated 7 million people.
$7 million.
No, the followers.
Oh, the followers. Yeah.
You cheated 7 million followers, which means ergo you could potentially cheat on me as a husband. And so I don't want to marry you.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's that.
Could happen.
I think she's part of the circus.
Okay, now that we've reached China, let's go a little bit further down under to Australia, where in 2 days, on the 26th of May, they are about to witness a supermoon. Yeah, supermoon is usually bigger, and there's a lunar eclipse. And so Australia doesn't really have that many COVID cases, and people are flying within Australia, but they still haven't opened up flights to the rest of the world, which is why I think they're still relatively safe. But Qantas, the airline, is doing something quite clever, because they've decided that they will launch flights essentially to the supermoon. So it's a flight called Fly Me to the Supermoon, and it's sold out in 2.5 minutes, because people are very excited to get onto a plane and then fly close to the moon. Because I mean, the best part about a supermoon and a lunar eclipse is being able to see it with the naked eye.
Correct.
Which means you need a clear sky. I mean, clouds and all will be very annoying. Like, wow, I'm seeing once in a, lifetime sort of moon, but I can't see it because it's hidden by the clouds. So then they're like,
supermoon keeps coming once in a lifetime.
No, but abhi Australia mein pata nahi kitne aaye hain. Anywho, so they have said that they are going to enjoy Mother Nature's night lights at 40,000 feet on the 26th of May. And then they will follow it with the viewing of the rising of the super moon, which also happens to be a total lunar eclipse. Everybody is also going to get everyone will also go to a party first. So there's like a cocktail hour before the flight. Commentary on the plane will happen by an astronomer, because
well done.
You need some sort of scientific explanation.
Yeah.
The moon is a crater. I'll be like, what is this? Is this, I might be confused. but if there's an astronomer guiding me through exactly what I'm seeing, so the astronomer is going to be there. They will also be guaranteed a great view because they will be above the clouds. Okay. Exclusive merchandise is also available. I'm guessing you get to wear a t-shirt with that flight or whatever.
These tickets must be more expensive than usual, I'm assuming. If you're taking like a once in a lifetime special trip and all, then
it's a private charter Qantas B787 Dreamliner flight with large windows, ideal for viewing.
I'm assuming that's a big plane.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's expensive. They also get a gift bag and a commemorative certificate.
Oh, nice. So if you're flying towards the moon,
yes,
then only the pilot can see it.
Yes.
So he has to fly sideways.
Yes.
Now the point is that the Dreamliner is a big plane. So if you're flying sideways and you can see it from the left, the people on the right of the plane are going to get upset. So at some point, the pilot has to take a U-turn.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to do like this across the moon.
That's damn random. All he's going to be doing is flying up.
Yeah, like back and forth. I'll go here, then I'll come back, then I'll go here, then I'll come back. Did you see it? No, I didn't. Can you do it again, pilot? Yeah, okay, why not? Because that's all we're doing. We're not really trying to get to a destination.
Fantastic. But listen, what an idea. Why haven't other airlines piled on to this, yeah?
I mean, if you think about it, you could have like I don't know, maybe you could like spy on your ex by getting on a plane. Why stalk on social media? Stalk upar se, fly over the building and fly over the house.
Circle your ex's house.
Yeah, but that's not like a commercial airline plot. That is like a small little helicopter plot. But you could
listen. Drones can also do this, by the way.
True. No, but you could like offer somebody a trip down memory lane. So like I'll take you to your old neighborhood. I'll take you to your school. I'll take you to your college. That would be possible for me because all of this was in Mumbai.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then you can make money.
Somebody whose life has happened in one city, this could happen.
But alone, I wouldn't do it. I'm saying like you would need the alumni to charter this flight. But you could. There are hazard things that you could like, or like fly over some waterfall and all, like Niagara we are taking you to.
Correct. I'm saying at some point in the well, maybe not so distant future.
Yeah.
Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are going to jump onto this. So like all this flight to see the supermoon and all, no. We will take you much closer. We will take you 5 feet away from the moon. You just come. The tickets, of course, will be insanely expensive. But what a concept. We will fly you to the moon. You see it over there.
But space flights are happening.
From your phone.
But the very first like international space flight with commercial passengers is already happening, right? Which is when that...
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So now you just schedule it for supermoon.
But that Japanese fellow who's bought all the tickets on Elon Musk's rocket.
Yeah.
Is pretty much doing that. And I guess any moon would, I mean, if you are going to the moon, it's a super moon. It is the largest moon ever.
True. Correct. You're that close. Can't argue.
How amazing.
Fair enough.
But this is
idea sahi hai.
Correct. All right. Before we go, as usual, an animal story, but I'm not quite sure you would like it or find it adorable, but it is a scientific story. Okay. I'm going to try and show you an image of not quite an animal, but basically a fish. All right. And the fish has led scientists to be very excited about a potential new way for oxygen supply to human beings.
Okay, what has the fish got to do with oxygen supply?
Okay, so this fish, I think, is called a weather loach.
Okay.
And so most fish breathe through their gills.
Sure.
This particular fish breathes through its bum. In addition to the gills.
Is it an intake of air or an outtake or an outflow of air?
Not an
outflow I can understand. Intake I cannot.
Intake. It also, yes. So anyway, the fish is not very exciting to look at, so we won't. But this is really quite fascinating. Fish breathe through gills, that is known. Some fish are able to breathe through their bottoms. The guts of vertebrates. Okay, so please stay with me. Vertebrates have basically a backbone, right?
Sure.
are well supplied with blood vessels to enable them to absorb digested food. So in principle, they can also absorb oxygen.
Blood vessels absorb digestive food. In principle, they can also absorb oxygen. Okay, but is that true in fact?
So weather loach is it's happening in the weather loach.
That's the example. Okay.
Yeah. And as far as we know, no land vertebrate can perform this trick. But Takebi Takanori.
Of course.
Takebi Takanori is basically in the United States of America, but he is a Japanese doctor, has said that perhaps with a little bit of assistance, land animals could also breathe through their bottom.
One minute. What is the meaning of assistance? Who is assisting me in this activity?
Okay,
I don't want anybody near my backside.
Okay, so no. Okay, so he said, look, right now with COVID, we know a lot of people have been struggling to breathe, and a lot of them have been needing ventilators. Now, putting somebody on a ventilator is quite traumatic for the patient because it is through the trachea. Okay, so
Sure.
So far, if somebody needs oxygen, you got to give them a ventilator and give them tracheal intubation, which is quite painful. It can also tear your like the delicate lung tissue.
Okay.
Ergo,
Ergo.
what if you gave oxygen pretty much like an enema?
Oh.
We will not explain what an enema is. You please Google it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it basically
to the previous part of this story.
the bottom. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So they said, but you can't obviously be blowing air up the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're doing the enema with a type of liquid called a perfluorocarbon, which can hold high levels of oxygen.
Okay.
And because
so the high level of oxygen via that liquid is going into your body.
Yes. And apparently, this liquid oxygen has been used for premature babies and their lungs and all at some point. It has been done. So currently, they basically anesthetized 4 pigs.
Gave anesthesia
To 4 pigs. Put them on a ventilator and gave them a lower breathing rate than normal. And so their blood oxygen levels fell. And then 2 of those pigs were given this liquid which has oxygen in it as an enema. And they said within 1 hour, their blood oxygen levels rose significantly. So
I'm not going to laugh at this. I'm not going to scoff at this only because it's a very out there solution, but it might be a solution.
Yes. They are saying, look, there are 2 issues with this. Okay. One, if a patient is really sick and needs the oxygen, then maybe the digestive system is not working and he could have diarrhea. So then there may be a little bit of an issue giving oxygen from there. And secondly, the ew factor.
We need to stop using the hand actions. Both you and I.
From there. I think we're using quite like innocuous hand gestures.
We are. Correct.
Yeah. There are many other gestures we could have used, but we haven't used them. Yeah. Also, please appreciate the fact that I am not showing you any images of pigs being given air through their bum.
Correct. Tarana, hand action.
I know. Damn it. Yes.
Don't.
Okay. Yes. So anyway, so they said it is a provocative idea, and those who first hear of it might express astonishment and also the ew, which is what you might be experiencing, dear
So
viewer.
it might be astonishing and it might be ew and it might be provocative up until the point it is proved to be working.
Yes. So they said, but the idea of fecal transplants for people with recurrent intestinal infections was also met with resistance initially until they realized that it really, really helps.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I could see why people would resist it, but well, if it works, it works.
And they've said ventilators require expensive equipment, require 2-3 people, you need staff, you need anesthesia, this and that. Yeah. Whereas giving oxygen anally Oops.
Again?
I talk with my hands. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anally, anally would just be a simple enema, which like any nurse or ward boy or whatever could do.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at the forefront of that testing, but I do want to know how it works out.
You might have to volunteer, Jagu, because I'm not seeing too many people volunteer for this.
I already put that caveat. I do not want to be at the forefront of that testing.
Anyway, it's happening in America. In Cincinnati or something. So it's too far right now. Like flights are not happening, and you're stuck in Bangalore. So you're off the hook for this one.
I'm off the hook for this one. I wasn't off the hook for the Radhe review, which has similar sentiments in some people. But this one, I'm off the hook.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Well,
all right. Okay. That is the end of our story and story session. Hopefully you had a good time. If you watched it too far, you know what to do. Like the video, offer comments. If you'd like to read any of these stories, we'll put them. They are in our description. Okay. So, read up more, find out more for yourself, discuss with people. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Turn that bell icon on and remember to share with like-minded people.
You do that. In the meantime, we will be back very soon with another episode. We love you.
We do. All right. See you soon. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye, butterfly.